London had survived fire, plague, and war. By 2047, it believed it had also mastered the climate. Walls had been raised, rivers mapped, forecast sport, and ignored. On the last calm morning, the city woke beneath a copper sky. The Thames moved without a ripple. Trains ran. Markets opened. In Westminster, another warning arrived from the North Atlantic. Pressure was falling faster than any model had predicted. The message was marked severe, then buried beneath the business of an ordinary day. At Greenwich, an old meteorologist recorded one sentence before the networks failed. "This is not a storm approaching London. It is the ocean returning to collect every warning we refused to hear." By noon, the wind turned east. Windows trembled. Birds vanished from the river. Above Britain, two weather systems joined into a spiral nearly 1,000 kilometers wide, feeding on seas warmed for generations. The evacuation order came late, but it came. Sirens crossed the city as millions moved west and uphill. The streets emptied, leaving traffic lights to change for no one, and the great clocks to measure the final hours of certainty. Then the first rain fell, not in drops, but in silver walls. London disappeared behind water. Towers became shadows. The river rose against its stone banks as if remembering the shape it had before the city. For 65 years, the Thames barrier had held back the tide. Its steel gates were symbols of calculation, proof that engineering could command nature. At 6:17 in the evening, the western gate stopped responding. The surge struck minutes later. Sensors went blind. Motors drowned. One gate leaned, then another. Beyond them waited London. Tunnels, hospitals, archives, homes, and the underground machinery of a capital built beside a patient river. When the barrier failed, there was no explosion. Only a deep metallic groan, followed by a moving wall of black water. The sound traveled upstream before the flood, like a warning arriving at last. Water found the lowest doors first. It poured into service shafts, car parks, and stations, following the map beneath London more accurately than any train. Platforms vanished one by one beneath cold, rising darkness. In an empty tunnel, emergency lights continued to blink. A red umbrella turned slowly in the current. Beside it floated a paper boat, folded that morning by a child now safe on higher ground. The boat passed abandoned signs and silent rails. It carried no flag and claimed no land. For one brief moment, it became the smallest vessel on the newest sea in the world. At 9:42, the National Grid disconnected central London. The skyline went dark from Canary Wharf to Westminster. Big Ben's face dimmed, and the clock stopped at the minute the river entered Parliament Square. The city that had once sent orders across oceans could no longer command a single street. Yet the storm was not revenge. Nature keeps no empire, reads no history, and recognizes neither victors nor the defeated. It answered only to heat, water, and time. Every ton of carbon, every postponed decision, every promise moved into the future had returned together, not as punishment, but as consequence. Near midnight, water crossed the floor of a great museum. Maps, crowns, and objects carried from distant continents stood behind glass while rain fell through the roof. For centuries, the building had arranged the world into rooms. Now the water erased the labels first. Reflections joined Africa to Asia, the Americas to Europe, island to island. Borders trembled across the old map, then disappeared beneath the same dark surface. Nothing in the gallery belonged to the flood, and nothing could command it. The final lesson was brutally simple. Possession is temporary. Memory survives only when it is shared, protected, and returned with humility. Before dawn, the wind weakened. The rain became a whisper, then stopped. London emerged beneath mist, damaged, flooded, silent, but not empty of life. Evacuation shelters answered one another across the hills. Rescue boats moved through streets where buses had once moved. Strangers called names into the pale morning. From rooftops came small lights, one after another, until the darkness no longer looked complete. The city had not been erased. Its illusion had. No wall was permanent. No wealth could purchase a private climate. Survival would depend on the one power London had so often underestimated: cooperation without conquest. At sunrise, a girl returned with her father to the roof of their building. Below them lay a changed city. She placed a paper boat in a pool of rain, and watched it turn toward the light. From a crack in the concrete, a green shoot had appeared. It was not a promise that everything would be restored. Some losses become part of the landscape. Some warnings arrive only once. But the future was not asking who had ruled the world. It was asking who would care for it. London, capital of an empire, and now a city among cities, finally listened as the river grew quiet.